Prepare for insight.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast Ugins Insight, also hosted as a vidcast on YouTube. Please make sure you follow us on Podbean and YouTube, and make sure you like and subscribe, and various all the other 5 million things we've got to do. Doing a very short intro today because we've got a very special episode. We've got a special guest with us, which is MTG Burgeoning. So without further ado, we're going to hand over to Past Jordan, who's had the interview, and hopefully it looks slick. We're going to be discussing various things about MTG Burgeoning, his channel, and lots of other random content. But I just want to say a big thank you to all the support that we've been getting on this podcast. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really enjoying doing it. And I'm looking forward to having more guests on and doing more content in the future. So without further ado, hand it over to Past Jordan. Hello, Eric. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jordan. How are you?
Oh, you know, I'm smiling. I'm good. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here, so it's all good. I'm very much looking forward to getting the rest of the weekend out of the way and hopefully playing a bit of more Magic in paper today, which will be sweet.
Yes.
So yes, obviously you're here for an interview, and obviously I'm going to hopefully conduct it well, and we can hopefully have a bit of banter along the way, and we'll crack on. So. Anyway, so do you want to tell the audience about who you are and what your channel's about?
All right. So, well, that's a tough question because I have a lot of different roles in my life. Of course, I mean, I'm not younger. I'm a bit older. I'm married.
Right.
I got
We're all, you know, there's nothing wrong with us oldies, you know.
That is true. We've got the roots back in the day, right? The old school Magic.
Oh, I in terms of root school Magic, I don't have any roots. I'm very new player. I've only been playing the last 5 years, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But no, I have utmost respect for you old timers of the game.
Oh no, the old timers. Yeah, sometimes I'll tell you, sometimes I feel that way when thinking about, way back, in the 90s when I was first starting to play.
Wow.
And just thinking where we are now and just how different things, the rules of the game have changed so much. And, the power level, everyone talks about power creep and how cards just get more and more powerful. And it's absolutely true. I mean, way back in the day, I'm telling you, Sarah Angel, it hits the table and the game's over. And
Yeah.
now it doesn't even get played now.
It is funny to think how like iconic it's like Shiv and Dragon as well. Like
Yes.
these cards were like, oh my god, I can't win. And it's whereas these days it's like, what is this card? I've never seen this card before. And it's like,
I know, right?
people don't realize it's pretty much a
five.
It's a standard staple. You know, it's in every core set, every starter booster, you know, every starter packs and all this jazz. But people are like, what is this card? Is this card good?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just, and I just, reflect back and it's like, wow, really? Like you said, Shivan Dragon or, Sengir Vampire comes out. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty much the game right there. Anything that flew back in the day, but now it's like everything flies.
Oh yeah, everything flies or everything can block it because they can block creatures that always have flying, or it has reach mechanic,
Yep.
or you just have straight up removal in every single color, regardless of the color panel.
Oh, I know. And like the things, and just like the things that blue can do now, destroy creatures, exile creatures. That did not happen back in the day. It was unsummon. That was it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I with the latest Strixhaven set, having removal in blue is just like, what now?
Oh, I know.
Why blue gets removal? It's ridiculous. It's unheard of. But then again, I play red and I've now got counter. I've got a counter in red, so he's like, can't really.
Oh, I know. Yep. Yeah. It's just. So yeah. So yep. Yeah. So old school Magic player here. Been in the game since Tempest. So that was back in October of '97. So I've been playing for a long time. I've been collecting for a while. So I play, I collect, invest. I've been married for 15 years. I got some, thank you very much. I got a couple of younglings, and they're all into the game as well. I have been a therapist for about 17 years.
is it mine?
I'm
I
also
better
an.
now be careful with my questions. Oh God, I didn't realize.
Well, you didn't think the MTG and MTG Burgeoning meant Magic the Gathering. No, it's Magic Therapy Guy.
Oh Lord. Okay, now I'm starting to regret this regret this interview. I'm terrified now. I don't want you using your voodoo witch powers and getting into my head. It's bad enough in there.
Nice. No, I promise I'll
Yeah.
behave. I promise. I'll shut it down for the evening.
Okay, oh, that's fine then. All right, that's good. You can turn the powers off.
There we go.
Obviously, I mean, for those of you who, obviously, the listeners of the watchers on the vidcast and the listeners in the audience, from the podcast side of things, we NTG Eric reached out to me to join the Pioneer Sweet 16, which is one of your long running series on your channel. So do you want to explain what that is, and mainly, obviously, how you came about with the series as well, because it looks really sweet.
Sure, thank you. Well, the Pioneer Sweet 16 is it's a reward series where we get 16 subscribers, and each one of the 16 subscribers they are randomly paired with one of 16 different Pioneer legal packs. So all the way back from Return to Ravnica, all the way up to the most recent set of Strixhaven. And each of those 16 participants, they each get one pack from a different Pioneer legal set, and all of the packs are opened. And whichever participant opens up the pack that has the most valuable rare, mythic rare, or foil in that pack, they win that card. And that is, like you said, that's been our longest running reward series. And it debuted back in February of 2020.
Wow. Okay.
And how that came to be is I was trying to think of some way to just get some more focus on the channel. Before that, I was doing this kind of reward series that was called the Dozen, and it was like opening up 12 packs from 12 different sets, and then you would like there was like a questionnaire where you would kind of predict, like, in the 12 packs of Return to Ravnica, would there be how many shocklands, and something like that, kind of like prop bets, something like that. But that just so that wasn't really gaining any attraction. So, and then Wizards, towards the end of 2019, they come out with this Pioneer format. And I'm like, wow, that sounds pretty sweet, because all of the sets, beginning from Return to Ravnica all the way up to the most recent set at that time, which was Throne of Eldraine, I was like, man, I love all these sets. These are not going to be hard packs to get. They're not going to be super expensive at the time. So that seemed like it would be a pretty affordable way to try to gain some traction, just to get some more people coming in and some more eyes on the channel. So finally decided to come up with that idea. I put it out there to the audience in February of 2020. So we were looking for, I had 16 different packs out there, and all you had to do was just pick a pack in the comment section. And once all 16 packs were claimed, then we would open them up and see who would win.
Yeah.
Well, it took a couple of months to just get the 16 for the very first one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we finally got that done in mid-May. So that was a bit of a grind. However, I will point out that as we've moved forward, because we've done 10 of them now, it went from taking more than 2 months to fill 16 slots. It got to the point where now I can't even open it up to just 16, because I don't want to feel like I'm slighting any of the audience out there. So what it's morphed into now is that from the pool of anyone who wants to participate in a Pioneer Rewards event, we just randomly draw the 16 names from the entire pool, just as a way in which to give everyone an equal chance.
Yeah, I mean, that's a clever way of doing it. I mean, I think as terms of the I haven't really looked into Pioneer as a format, but it is quite popular in New Zealand, sort of thing, because obviously it's an eternal form. I say the word eternal. The eternal format, obviously, it's non-rotating, and the benefit is that it's not as expensive as modern, because you haven't got you haven't got all this like fetch lands and everything else. So it's a bit slower than modern, but it's also not as like money investment heavy sort of thing. So if you want to play an eternal format, you can do and stuff like that, which is quite good. But yeah,
I agree with that assessment completely. It's a much more relaxed format, particularly, like you said, with Wizards coming right out of the gates and saying no fetch lands. I mean, that's just a huge load off of any kind of deck building for a format like that. You're already looking at hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Well, I think the other benefit as well, of course, with with them saying no fetch lands, is that it distinguishes it from modern because let's be honest, if they said, oh yeah, fetch lands are fine, don't worry about it. There's no, I mean, apart from the more limited pool than modern, there's no differentiation between the two. So
yep, I agree with that.
I kind of understand why they would say no fetch lands number one for differentiation, but two, it's like everyone was kind of crying out that modern's too expensive, and I kind of agree with that. I've got a modern deck that's worth a couple of $100 sort of thing, and it's not that OP, I'll be honest, but it's then I go to another one that I've got in pieces, and there's some cards in that I've got like the Goblin Guy promo from GP from like the GP seasons a few years back, and those are all foil, and those 4 cards alone could probably buy out several of my other decks.
Gotcha. Because, is your modern deck, is that a red wins deck?
No, I've got my main modern deck is Norrin Soul Sisters.
Oh, nice.
So it is
it's a Boros.
It is Boros incremental life gain, and it is hilarious how many games it will win, because the only reason I built it, funnily enough, because there was a modern GP being played in England, and I was like, right, I obviously need a modern deck, and I didn't have a modern deck, and I was like, well, what have I got? And I was looking around and hunting around, and I couldn't find anything I liked, or all the other decks were like super expensive. And I was like, well, I thought, well, let's have a look through the collection, see what I found. I found like a good life gain package, and I was like, okay, what can I do with life gain? Oh, well, there's Johnny's Pride Mate. Oh, there's Champion of the Parish. That's quite cheap to buy. So this is before Modern Humans became a thing. So I picked up loads of good cards for for a very good price. But it then sort of suddenly I found about Honor and the Wary, and I was like, oh, okay. And then suddenly I was like, oh my god, hang on, I can keep flickering him the entire time and just keep gaining life. And it gets ridiculous because, of course, people are targeting it, and it's like, right, great, in response it flickers. And,
yeah, that's awesome.
And people were getting frustrated. I had one person who was just so frustrated. He said, how the hell can I kill it? I said, you got to ping it with a Planeswalker. That's the only way, or make me sacrifice it. But even every time, you got to do it with an ability that's on the board, not from hand. And they're like, this is pointless. It's ridiculous. And I understood the frustration because it is like hilarious how much it was interacting and stuff like that. But yeah, it is funny. But yeah,
that is fantastic.
But yeah, so that's my main one. I do have a Goblins deck as well, which is just for fun. It's not competitive. It's won me more games than I care to admit, but it's not competitive at all. But it's just daft. It's got like Warren Instigator and Goblin Kings and everything else in it. Just for
awesome.
Just for fun. So I tell you what, as we're speaking about formats, should we move on to like what is your favorite format? Obviously, because logically, we've discussed Pioneer, so obviously I would say that, but I don't want to obviously say that you are a huge Pioneer player. I don't know.
I do love Pioneer. I've dabbled in Standard. I've dabbled in Modern. My favorite format is EDH. It is Commander. It's been my favorite for about a decade. I didn't even know that Commander was a format until Wizards released the 2011 product. And those 5 pre-constructed decks came out. And I was like, I never even heard of this format before. And because at that time, it was just, getting together with friends, family, just playing at the kitchen table. You pull out your 60-card deck and you got 3 players or you got 6 players, and it's just multiplayer free-for-all. We weren't really thinking about anything like, any kind of constructed play or formats or anything like that.
Yeah.
But then when Wizards...
it's funny because I also love EDH, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've got, how many decks do I have now? I have 4 EDH decks, one of them being a Pauper EDH deck, which is my new latest creation, which is just brilliant. But when I first got into Magic, of course, Commander was its big thing. It's like, oh yeah, Commander. I'm like, what is Commander? So, I ended up
Mm.
talking to a couple of the more experienced players, and they told me about it, and I thought, okay, this seems cool. But they said, look, don't, just buy a precon. If you find a precon deck that you like, buy that, and then just upgrade from there. Or if worst case scenario,
Yeah.
you've already got like staples like a Soul Ring and other things of that nature. And
Yeah.
I ended up building my first commander deck was built around Omnath Locus of Rage, because I pulled a foil copy in my pre-release, and I was like, oh, I'll end up doing something. I thought I'd sell it for big money. I thought I'd sell it for huge money, but of course it wasn't. But so I stayed in my binder for ages, and then suddenly I was thinking about Commander. I thought, well, I can make elementals a thing. Like landfall's easy, and elementals should be easy. And I ended up building this weird and wonderful, and it's gone through so many iterations as cards have come out. With,
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really powerful now. But I've got things in there like Where Ancients Tread, which is a
Yes.
5 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature power 5 or more enters the
Yeah.
battlefield, it'll deal 5 damage to target creature or player. And it's just like, if I get one of my big dump a load of lands onto the board, and I've got Omnath
And
out, and it's like, right, landfall trigger.
yeah. And
Just
that's amazing.
yeah.
And that is amazing. I mean, in what other format can you play Where Ancients Tread? I
Yeah.
love that enchantment. It is just so awesome.
Yeah, and again, that one has won that one enchantment, and I think I picked it up for like 25 pence in the UK. That's how because they was like, oh, it's a nobody. It's only used in Commander, so nobody cares about it. It's like,
Yep.
sweet, thank you, and it just blows out people in games so often because suddenly they get down to a low enough life total. It's like, don't play a big creature, Jordan. It's like, look.
Mm-hmm.
It's either I don't play a creature or don't play a land, and that's limiting me, guys. So I'm sorry if I'm gonna have to go off now and do this. So
That's
he brings a
great.
very big political tool to the table. But yeah, but
Oh,
what's
absolutely.
yeah, what,
Absolutely.
what's your so obviously you play EDH. I assume you've got quite a few decks. Is there a pet
I
for you?
do. I got a pretty deep catalog of EDH decks. I would have to say if I had to pick one as my number one, it's
Put you
so
on the
hard
spot. Put you on the spot. Pick it, Eric.
to put me on the spot.
It's all right if you want to
The
whisper so the
very
other decks don't hear, so they're not going to mana screw you. I don't mind that as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. You want to say that? Well, here you go. Here's 7 lands and nothing else in your opening hand.
Why don't you go to
Oh,
so and so and play with that deck?
yeah, that was great.
Oh,
It's hard to not think about the very first one. I mean, the very first commander deck I ever quote unquote built, I grabbed the Kalia of the Vast precon
yeah.
when the
Wow, yeah.
Commander 2011 product came out, and I was just like, wow, she attacks and then puts a dragon or a demon or an angel in the play. I got tons better
Yeah.
dragons, angels, and demons in my collection than what came in this deck. I think I'm just gonna roll with Kalia, and that was my very first. But if I had, I mean, you always think about your first. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. Kalia is. I mean, that's such a good commander because the fact is that deck will just get better the more sets come out because there's always going to be a new dragon. There's always going to be There's always going to be a new dragon. There's always going to be a demon, or there's going to be an angel. There's always so the fact is that with that deck you're like, oh sweet, let me have a look. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick that angel. That demon looks pretty good. And so you could always sort of mix and match and pick out and make it really tailored as well, which is really sweet.
Yeah, that's a very excellent assessment there because I will point out I still have the Kalia deck. I still have the shell. I mean, over the decade that I've had it, I mean, it's gone over some different iterations, but just like you said, it just comes down to a checklist of the most powerful winged beasts you can possibly put in there. And every single set, there's going to be one of them in there.
Yeah, I do the same. Funnily enough, I do the same every time the new set's out. I immediately, obviously, we go through all the set hype and what do I want to build for standard. But then I always go back to it and look at, now what cards do I want for my Omnath deck? This is an elemental. Oh dear lord, this is awesome, right? This has got to go in. Or here's another land ramp spell, or multiple land drops, or here's card drawing green, or hexproof, or suddenly there's all these weird and wonderful things that come out, and you're like, I could do this. I could do that. But likewise,
But I think
one of my other decks is Wartbog Art Anti, for Rakdos goblins, and that's just hilarious. So whenever there's a goblin sets that are out, I'm like, I could do with this and this one as well for no reason.
Oh yeah, there's goblins all over the place too. Every set they've got a goblin or two in there, definitely. So yeah, it's tough not to think about the very first. But if I had to think a little deeper than that, I think I would end up going with Scion of the Ur-Dragon. I think that's been
my playgroup back in the UK when we were all building commander decks. Steve, one of my good friends, Steve, who did some stuff on the channel for us, he built a Scion of the Ur-Dragon, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine, very well balanced, not a problem at all. And then Wizards, in their infinite wisdom, went, let's make an Ur-Dragon commander deck. And his deck went from something that could be handled to, oh my god, it's so overpowered now. What on earth are we going to do? And literally, I feel sorry for Steve, because literally whenever he plays that deck, it's like, he goes, right, I'm casting this. Nope. Remove it. Dead. Exile. Can't do it. He can't do anything because he just we all know the deck too well, and that's all he does. He does what we've just been discussing. Is every new set comes out, it's like, ooh, I'll take this, please. Ooh, that's going to fit in well. I mean, funnily enough, I saw that some of the spoilers for the next D&D set, which is going to lead on to our next question. And so Tiamat, the god of dragons, and
holy mackerel!
And one, that is an amazing card. Let's just, I'll state for, I don't think it's standard playable in any way, shape, or form, but it is amazing. But the one thing I find hilarious about it is if you've got Morphon as your commander, Tiamat only costs 2 generic mana because Morphon gives you Wooburg.
Oh, that's right.
And so you could cost Tiamat for 2 mana and get 5 more dragons in hand. Theoretically, all as many colors as you want for free, and then you could flood. It's one of those ones I saw. The second I saw Tiamat, I thought, oh, that's cool, and then I was like, oh, there's Morphon as a commander. Oh, he costs 2 mana. Dear Lord, this is wrong. Suddenly it's like, oh my Lord, what are we going to do? And I actually messaged Steve and said, let me guess, this card's going into your Scion deck. And he went, yep. He said, second I saw it, I'm going to pre-order it the second I can.
I nearly came off the couch when I was watching that preview show last night, because I was watching the stream when they spoiled that dragon, and I'm like leaning off the couch so I can get closer to the TV to just take in the beauty of this dragon. And immediately I start thinking to myself, is this going to usurp Scion? Is she going to knock Scion out of the command zone? And I just sat there thinking, I'm like, wow, 5 dragons of any names?
Yeah.
And then first card I thought about, Sneak Attack.
Yeah, there's so many.
Wow.
There's so many things that you could do with this, with that as in the deck. Even as part of the 99, it's good as the 99 because the fact is it replaces itself with 5 cards. It's just insane, quite frankly.
Yes.
But there's so many things you can do. It's not even funny with it, and I mean, all in all, I mean the next standard set's going to be off the chain anyway because everybody loves. For those of us who play Magic, and because it is a fantasy game, going to D&D is going to be very interesting. I've never played D&D myself, but I've always enjoyed listening, and I listen to Reddits and podcasts about D&D, so I'm very aware of it. So it's going to be cool. But we'll move on to the next question, which is, of course, that obviously with us going to the Forgotten Realms of D&D. If you could put any card into standard, what would it be? I mean, is there something D&D lore you'd want to put in, or is there an existing card that's eternal and you would go, oh, this would be quite cool in this theme?
It would definitely be from Magic's past. I don't have any knowledge of D&D outside of what I've ever seen on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
So I really have nothing to offer in a D&D conversation other than I can listen.
We can gloss over that. That's fine, no worries.
But I thought about that, and I'm going to go with one of my pet cards that I love it a lot, and I don't know if the community as a whole has really caught up to how great the card is just based on its value.
Yeah.
It's Mirage Mirror.
Ooh. That's from Amonkhet, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think Hour of Devastation.
Hour of Devastation. Hour of Devastation. Yeah. Mirage. Actually, you know what? They could they could maybe fit it in Mirage Mirror.
I mean, think about that. Just with all the sagas that are running around from Theros and from Kaldheim, you have that in play under your control. You know,
Yeah.
you untap, upkeep up before you draw. You quick turn the Mirage Mirror into one of the sagas, and then you get a lore counter on it. You get to, I don't know, maybe your Elspeth's deathing something again, or maybe you're doing one of the other Kaldheim sagas. I mean, and how about an artifact? Who wouldn't want to have a great henge for 2 colorless mana?
Or an Embercleave, yeah.
Or an Embercleave, absolutely.
Yeah. There's that.
I mean, we can get even creative on if you're fixing for mana, you Fable Passage something.
Yeah, I actually, to be fair, thinking about it, I'm sure they could easily put the Mirage Mirror in. In terms of D&D, there's bound to be, with all this lore from D&D going back to the 80s, there's got to be something very similar, sort of, in a world of that nature. I mean, maybe it might not be exact, but yeah. I mean, the only problem I always found when Mirage Mirror was in Standard is the fact that you didn't have to. There was a 2-mana activation, but you didn't have to tap or do anything else to get the benefit. So it was always very broken, in my opinion. Especially as it become a copy of an artifact, creature, enchantment, or even a land was really
I know.
good.
Yep.
And
just and the creatures that are in Standard right now, it's just, I think that card would be an extremely versatile card to add to the current Standard environment, because you really could put that card in any deck. Even if you're going spell slinging with Magecraft, you can just have the Mirage Mirror become a copy of one of your Magecraft creatures, and then you're getting additional triggers every time you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think certainly it would be a good addition, but I think that they could easily probably slot it in. They must be able to. There must be something about a mirror universe in the D&D world that can, they could probably easily tie it in. But that would be a cool one, actually. I think that I mean, I was thinking about the question myself of what card I would bring in, and all I was thinking about was the various goblin, because immediately, I mean, I'm a goblin tribal fanboy. I love goblin tribal, so I was thinking about maybe the Goblin King, bring him back for a thing, and maybe, or something of that nature, because there are a few, goblins are a little bit in Standard at the moment, but obviously with this new set coming out, we're rotating. No, do we rotate immediately, or is it after?
No, we rotate in the fall. When the
actually,
first Innistrad set that comes out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so there's enough goblins, in my opinion. There's enough goblins to work with now that I think having the Goblin King would be cool. We could do some, and then obviously rotation happens, and then we lose them. So it's like, oh, okay, we lose a lot. So you could have a little bit of fun, flavor-wise, with D&D, with having the Goblin King and stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The Goblin King, boy. that brings back some memories. One of my friends that got me into the game, he's a red player and he's a goblin guy, and he would have this goblin deck way back in the day. And when I first got into the game, one of my first kitchen table decks, I gravitated towards Merfolk. So he would play with his goblin deck. He'd have his Goblin Kings. I would have my Merfolk deck. I'd have the Lord of Atlantis. And it always came down to who got their Lord in play first. And he would always get so upset. How come the Lord of Atlantis is only 2 blue and my Goblin King is 2 red and a 1?
Yeah, it is one of those sort of things. I mean, one of my favorite formats is Pauper, and the fact that I run slivers in Pauper, so the fact that I have common lords at 2 mana is just, I can fully appreciate what he means, because obviously I do play lords and goblins as well. But it's when you're playing a lord for 2 mana, it's like, oh, turn 2, make things bigger, turn 2.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's like they even did it in when we went to Ixalan. When we went to Ixalan, and they had was it Merfolk Mistbinder, the
Yes,
the blue and green, just the blue and green. Yeah, it's a lord still. Like, and it's just like
It's like,
why can't goblins get love? Why do we have to pay 3 mana? It's ridiculous. We're only small.
and then there's the Master of the Pearl Trident is also just 2 blue.
Yeah,
it's just another Lord of Atlantis effect.
To be fair, I know why they won't let goblins have a lord at 2 mana, because it would be busted.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just 2 mana, all other goblins you control get +1/+1. It still would be busted, because there are players like me who are goblin players who will go, how can I abuse this as quick as possible and get in for like a turn 3 kill, job done.
So, Jordan, I'm sure you have all kinds of goblin lackeys in your deck, right?
I have one. I have one in my Wartbogger anti deck, which is just I love Goblin Lackey. I ended up paying quite a lot for it at GP because it's obviously it is played in legacy goblins as well. Because if you can ever get turn 1 swing in with a goblin, turn 2 swing in with a Goblin Lackey, it's no good.
It's over. It's absolutely over.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle to come back from So I ended up paying, I think it was like £7 I paid for mine. So I was like, yeah, it wasn't like expensive, but but it was like, wow, suddenly this one card I can't really run 4 of them.
Right.
Jesus, I can't run 4 of them. But yeah. But then I find it hilarious when they bring out things like Muxus in Jumpstart, which is just like, oh yeah,
I know.
Look at the top thing, all the all into the battlefield. It's like, wow, you all complain about a 1/1. Complain about 1/1.
5. Yep. 5 CMC or less, right into play.
Yeah.
Muxus is great.
Muxus is brilliant, and I need to. Funnily enough, I need to get one for my war deck. That's something I need to remember about.
That would be great.
Right.
If I ever came across a copy, I would definitely build a mono red goblin deck in EDH. I absolutely would.
It's very tempting. To be fair, funnily enough, because I invest in some seal product, and I do have another. I have a Jumpstart one tucked away, but I opened one for the channel, and I was hoping to get a Muxus, and I had such fun opening that I was like, oh, maybe I should just open my other one and see if I can find Muxus.
You crushed that box. I watched that video. You crushed that box.
Yeah, that it was. I can't believe how much value is in Jumpstart. I mean, I know that there's value in Jumpstart. Don't get me wrong, but it's like when you're opening, you're like, oh yeah, I got one. When I opened it's not Burgeoning, the +1 counters one, and I opened obviously I got 2 of them, and they were both like $45 each.
Oh, the branching evolution.
Branching evolution, that's it. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, yeah, this is what. Obviously, I know it works in Commander. People will probably buy it, but I'm like, what the? It's like, are you kidding me? When I looked at the prices afterwards and I saw the prices, I was like, wow, could not believe it. Obviously, post editing Jordan is quite good with slotting the prices in there.
Jordan, I felt the exact same way. I got a couple of Jumpstart boxes just on blind faith, just at it was a flash pre-sale, and I didn't even know any of the cards in them. I'm like, well, this seems like it'll be interesting. I'll just get some.
Yeah.
And I opened them up, and I knew that the elves the elves pack had a Crater Hoof in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on, Crater Hoof, come on, Crater Hoof. So I get to the pack, and it's an elf pack. I'm like, oh yes, Crater Hoof, Crater Hoof. I open it up. I'm like, what is this elf? what is this Allosaurus Shepherd? I don't want this guy.
Who wants this 1/1? Why? And then suddenly you realize, oh my lord.
Yeah. Whoa! Holy crap! $100.
Yeah,
it's 2 Crater Hoof behemoths.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's chasing Crater Hoofs and just throwing Allosaurus Shepherds to the side, going, "Oh, please, who cares? Crater Hoof," not realizing the value they're just throwing to the side. But yeah.
Absolutely, yes. I was like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, just amazing value in that set.
Yeah, it is amazing the investment. I mean, to be fair, one of my favorite things of investing that I've been doing for years now is I've been squirreling away sealed packs, just a booster pack into a collection. I'm trying to get every single one. Obviously, I know I'm not going to be able to get alpha and beta and all that, but obviously it's easy to say I'm aiming to get every single one. And I'm only missing 30 packs so far, so as we've been going. Because every time I attend a GP, there's like vendors who are selling odd packs here and then. It's like, it's squirrel them away, grab them, throw them in the collection. And funnily enough, my wife was talking to me the other day about that, and she was like, "Do you know how much value you're probably sitting on?" I said, "Oh yeah, I have a rough idea." I said honestly, if I was to put an auction up for all the packs that I have, I dread to think how much money it would bring because I've got like Zendikar, I've got original Zendikar in there and Worldwake and Innistrad, and so I've got lots of very old packs that are very like obviously there's also packs in there that nobody cares about, because not everybody is nostalgic for all the other sets. They just want to chase all the chase cards sort of thing.
Sure.
So yeah, but the wife says I probably need to write down exactly what I want to be doing with them if anything was to ever happen to me. She's probably trying to kill me off, and she's planning it. That's what I'm thinking.
you better check with the insurance policies on that one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Funnily enough, yeah. So yeah, we'll move on because obviously we could probably discuss investments for the next hour or so. But anyway,
hang on. I have a quick question for you, Jordan. What are some of the 30 packs that you do not have in your collection?
Oh, I would have to consult the booster. Hang on, this is how much of a nerd I am. I have a booster pack spreadsheet.
We are like soul brothers.
It's the easiest way for me to track what I'm missing. That's why.
It's my only use for Excel.
Okay, so let's see. Well, I need to update that because I'm missing that. So things like Shards of Alara, Original Time Spiral, Champions of Kamigawa, pretty much the Urza block, the Tempest, Mirage, Visions. Yeah, Arabian Nights, Antiquities, it's generally most of the. Oh, and I'm also missing, which I've been trying to track down, is the original Modern Masters one. That's
the very first one.
Because I've been collecting. Obviously, I'm counting them. I've not been counting set boosters because set boosters. I'm just trying to do original draft boosters because obviously I've got a feeling that one day I might just go screw it. Let's have a random chaos sealed and let's go for. At some point. But yeah.
No, I think you have to have a little. You got to have a limitation in there. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the collectors ones I don't put in there. I mean, I've got a stack of collectors. In fact, for those of you who are watching the vidcast, you'll happily see that I'm holding up various collector boosters that I have not touched.
There you go.
Because why not? But yeah. But I've got various bits and bobs, but the booster pack things is one of those things I quite enjoy doing, and occasionally I'm gonna, like I've already spoke to like several guys in the States I speak to, and they've said, oh yeah, well if you're ever out this way, there's a store nearby, and they'll guarantee they'll probably have X, Y, and Z for you, because obviously I could order them and get them delivered, but it's just so expensive with shipping, so I'd rather wait until I visit, come on because me and the wife are planning a big States trip. Probably in quite a few years' time, sort of thing. So I'll probably end up raiding every single local game store along my road trip route. Is the plan?
Oh, so. That sounds like a dream.
Yes, the wife has said that if we do the trip, I am allowed to raid and grab as many packs as I can. But we're not spending every moment in a Magic store. And I'm like, fine, okay. So I think I'm limited to buying, but not shopping for singles, but buying. Just buying sealed packs, but yeah, it'll be.
That sounds fantastic.
But yeah,
that sounds fantastic. So we just gotta expedite this trip. We gotta speed it up a little bit, right?
It would be perfect. But yes, I'll take it as it comes. If it comes, if it comes any quicker, obviously the world's got to calm itself down a little bit first. Still, it's just coming up to boil itself, so it'll be all good in the future. It's good. It's a good thing for. So yeah, well, next question. Obviously, I'll sort of speedy right along. So obviously, one thing about your channel is that you do daily content. I mean, how do you find doing it as daily content? Or because obviously I used to do daily, and now I do it sort of X amount of videos a week is the way I plan my content around. It goes up and down depending on new sets and new product and all that jazz. So yeah.
Well, I've been doing daily content for about 7-8 months now, and for me, the trick is if I can stay ahead of everything that I'm doing, I'm golden. If I fall behind,
yeah,
then it's a panic show.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me. Because I was doing daily content. And yeah, when you've got it, when you're ahead of it, it looks great. It's all fine. It's all gravy. But yeah, I think I had what was it? I had a trip away. Yeah, no, I had a what was it? There was a oh yeah, no, I had to go away for work for 3 days, and
Mhm.
and due to with family life and everything else, I just didn't get the content recorded in time, and then sort of it just went to pots, and then I couldn't ever catch up. So I was just like, well, you know what? Maybe we just stick to having a minimum of 1 or 2 videos a week. That was the original plan, and occasionally I do, like when we had early accesses and I was being involved in the early access, I would record like 10 deck techs for the new set, and I'd release them one a day, sort of thing. So yeah, so
Nice.
occasionally I do have daily content, and then occasionally it's just back down to being one or two videos a week is the way
Yeah.
I do it. But yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do agree that it is a slog doing it as daily content, but I hope that you can always stay ahead of it. And if you ever need any help promoting, just you let me know, and I'll happily send a tweet. You need to get you on Twitter, man. We need to get you on Twitter. Twitter is one thing I discovered about the Magic community is that they love being on Twitter. Because originally I thought Facebook was the way, but then I
Mhm.
realized that they like to tweet and share things like via there. So that's one thing we need to get you on.
Okay.
So
All right. That doesn't sound like an insurmountable goal. I could definitely do that.
yeah, we can get you on there. Well, we got you onto Discord. That's a good start.
Yes, sir. That was all you, baby. That was all you.
We got you on Discord, so then we get you on Discord. We can get you on Twitter. That's the next plan. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
obviously with your channel, I mean, have you got any secret plans you want to divulge, or have you got a direction you're planning on going?
yeah, definitely. The plan is still gonna go full steam with all the daily content, all of our current series that we're doing, because we have our different reward series and we have our deck tech series, our build a deck series, and all of those other series are gonna keep going. Sometime in the near future, we're going to build a Commander Guild Cube. So we're gonna get some
Okay,
input from the community in doing that.
that sounds
We're
sounds
also
fun.
going
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I mean, I personally Ravnica is one of my favorite worlds. It's Ravnica, it's Innistrad. Those
Mm.
are probably my two top worlds. So I love the guilds. I love the two colors, all the different combinations. I just really enjoy that, and I think it would be awesome to just build a commander cube that's just based on all 10 guilds.
Yeah,
So that's going to be.
that
Go
would be
ahead.
that would be sweet. I mean, one thing one plane I want to go back to. I want to go back to us to go back to Lorwyn and like Lorwyn Shadow Mode. I mean, I love tribal, so it's like right up my alley.
Hmm.
And I never got to experience it, and I've only ever seen some of the cards from it, and it's like, oh, can we go back to Lorwyn, please? But I know people say the same thing about Kamigawa as well. That everyone wants to go back to Kamigawa, and we've sort of
Yeah.
we've only sort of slightly dabbled in a few cards here and there for Kamigawa
Mhm.
since. So that'll be
It
interesting.
would not. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no, that's it. I said.
It would not surprise me in the least bit if the next remastered series from Wizards is either Kamigawa or the Lorwyn Shadowmoor block.
Mm,
That would not surprise me one bit.
yeah.
I think they're going to keep doing that.
One thing I actually quite enjoy about these remastered sets. I mean, I actually like the ones that end up on Arena as well because it's pushing Arena forward, and hoping at some point we may even get to Modern or even Pioneer on Arena because the sets that they are bringing out, sort of thing, which is quite good. It will be interesting to see how if because obviously like the Time Spiral remastered one, they said no, that was always going to be in paper. They weren't going to touch that for Arena, which is understandable. But
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people kind of wish that they had done the remastered on for Time Spiral on, but I understand why not, because it wouldn't have worked having slivers in, because there's no other support for slivers, so it would have been a very
Yeah.
very limited amount, so it wouldn't have worked. But yeah, but it's kind of hopefully the next. But apparently, I think what is it? Gavin Vernhay said that the remastered idea and plan started with Time Spiral. didn't it? And then, but all the other ones came after. But they said, "Oh, we want to put these on Arena sooner," so they kind of mixed up the order to put these ones onto Arena first. I think that's what it was.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen going forward with remastered series as a whole. But it looks quite. I quite like the remastered series. The Time Spiral one obviously is great because I never got a chance to play Time Spiral, so it gave me an opportunity to go and play Time Spiral block effectively. It would be interesting to see, doing Urza's remasters, Urza Saga remasters and all that jazz as well. That'd be interesting to see, or even Khan. To be fair, even Khan's block remastered would be interesting, sort of thing. Because Khan's block was really sweet. I got into Magic just at the end of Khan's block, and at the in Magic Origins, and I really I got to play a little bit of Khan's, but it was I really enjoyed it personally. I think that you could, if they did a remaster set just for Khan's block, it would be quite sweet because it cuts out a lot of chaff that was obviously for three. Because obviously we used to have 3 sets, 3 sets for a block. There was a lot of there's a lot of filler in here just to
especially in that middle set, the small set. So for Khans, it would have been Fate Reforged.
Yeah,
and I mean, if we reflect back on that set, it was Ugin. Or it was, the 1.5 fetch lands you might get in a booster box of Fate Reforged, and then that was really it at the time.
Or Crux, the Crux of Fate was the only other one really that stands out from that entire set, which is really funny. With the fact that it's like, hang on, we're on Ugin's home planet and Ugins, home plane, sorry, because he came from Dominaria, but from Ugins main place of residence, and his Fate Reforged set, which is him actually physically there, is like, oh yeah, there's like a handful of cards here that are good. All the rest of it is just filler while we wait for going back to the Dragons of Tarkia, and we get all the dragons.
Yep.
And it's like, okay. But yeah, that's cool. Nice. Yeah. Anyway, I've just realised how long we've been chatting for, which is gonna be a long podcast and vidcast for this one, but it's gonna be fun. So we'll wrap it up there. But obviously, I'm going to put in the description box for the vidcast and on the podcast links to MTG or to Eric's MTG Burgeoning. I can't speak today. And put it to his YouTube channel. Obviously, please go along. Please send him some love. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Eric. And I want to say thank you again for asking me to collab with you on your it was the Sweet 16. It became the Super 20. Did it become
the Tireless 20?
Tireless 20. Yes, that was it. So we became the Tireless 20. I'm disappointed you didn't rig my pack so I could win, but
I got that a lot. I really did. I was so, there was a part of me that was just crestfallen as I'm whipping through the 20 packs. And I think it was like 13 packs in. The most valuable card was $2 and change. I'm like, oh, come on, give me something good.
To be fair, I was thinking the same. I thought this is how it is with content creation. That you go, sweet, I've got 20 content creators. They're all going to be here. They're all going to be showing me some love. They're going to be this, and we're opening 50 cents to $1 cards. And it's like, because the amount of times that I'm doing unboxings, it's like, right, where is my spice? Where is the big oh my god card? That's what we want, to happen. Yeah. But it was entertaining. I just enjoyed it. It's like, yes, no one is going to beat this. What is it? Foreboding Ruins. Yes. It's like, is Foreboding Ruins really going to win this entire series in a couple of episodes?
And there's such a history with that too, because every time I do one of those Pioneer Reward series, and Shadows over Innistrad as a part of it, I always talk so highly of it because it's one of my all-time favorite sets, and I'm always pushing how great it is. And every single time I would open up, I would get like 40 cents, 50 cents. It would always be a laughing stock. So tucked away in the back of my head as I'm going through this set, I'm like, this is payback. This is Shadows coming back to say, okay, you want value? We're going to give you a $2 and 42 cent value card on a 20 chaos.
Oh, it was so entertaining. But it's like I know what you mean because with the shadows, I remember when I undid my my booster box unboxing of shadows, because the fact is that you could get a potential mythic, a foil mythic, and then a flip mythic as well. And it was just like you could have. Well, I always call them god packs. I mean, to be fair, we've got it in Strixhaven at the moment with. Oh well, you could have a lesson. You could have in fact, on the set booster packs, because I just did my set booster unboxing, and that was like, oh well, suddenly it's like, oh, you get your lesson. Well, you could have a mythic. You could have the mascots, mascot expedition, and then you could go through, and then you've got the potential of more mythics and rares, and then you get your foil. You guaranteed a foil, and if you got the foil. Mystical archive, if you get a foiled demonic tutor, it's like wow, you're laughing. It is ridiculous how good some of these packs are in sets. I mean, one thing I love about when you have these sort of sets, because it was the same with the Kaladesh block, and when you went to the GP, I went to the GP for Kaladesh, and it was just great because we're all sitting down, it's sealed, and people are opening the packs, and you could hear the excitement of squeals of joy because someone's got a masterpiece.
Oh,
and it's just like, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Strixhaven. The fact is, if you were doing this as sealed on Strixhaven, people will probably be losing their mind if they're open a foil time warp or stuff like that. And it's just like you've got huge value there. Not only to win the game, to win in sealed, but you could have like
to win life.
Yeah, to win life. I remember. I opened up. It was the day before the event, and I took part in a qualifier, and it was sealed. And I opened up. Was it Winter Orb?
Oh,
was it Winter Orb? Yeah. It's the one that doesn't. Winter Orb, and they don't untap and stuff like that. And it was just like I was like, yeah, boy. I never played it. I never came out. I couldn't find it, and I lost. But it was like, yeah, boy. I just had that massive excitement value. But I remember one guy. He opened a Soul Ring, and he was 4 seats down from me. He opened a Soul Ring, and he squealed so hard.
Oh
the
my
judge came along
goodness.
and had a look, and he went, "Oh yeah, that's fine." He understood why he squealed. It was just
Wow.
that thing of wow, foil Mr. Masterpiece Soul Ring, and the vendors were buying them left, right, and center. They were actually offering good money because they knew that. All right, yeah, I'm paying X amount now, but I guarantee I'm just going to sit on it for a couple of months, and Commander players are going to be itching because they knew, because they're smart enough to realize that Commander's where the money's at a lot of the time, and we all want shiny bling.
And how many times are you going to see a Soul Ring masterpiece?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
No,
wow.
It was awesome. But yeah, I kind of that's the one thing I kind of miss at the moment. I wish I could play sealed in paper at a big event with Strixhaven at the moment, because it would just be very nostalgic for that sort of feeling as well, which would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, that would be something.
But yes, but anyway, as I said to everyone, please make sure you go along to Eric's channel. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for being my first guest.
Jordan, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been nice talking back and forth with you. And now that you're on Discord, we can talk even more. We could even maybe play a game every now and again and stuff like that. We'll get
fantastic.
We'll have to sort something out. So anyway, folks, we'll sign off. While I've got Eric here, no point in going back to future Jordan, who's recorded the intro. we'll do it right here, right now. So thank you for joining me. Remember to follow us on Podbean for the podcast itself. If you want to watch the vidcast, it's on YouTube. Make sure you obviously like and subscribe. And yes, please go along to Eric's channel and do the same. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.